So welcome back to It's the Capital Call, where we have keep it simple conversations about real life solutions to real world problems to help you avoid having to make that dreaded capital call in your business. As always, 100% of the profits generated off today's episode will be donated to the Empowerment Fund to help support our mission of changing the world through the power of financial literacy and entrepreneurship. Today, we have with us Shawn Finder, former CEO of Autoklose. Shawn, thank you for joining us. Shawn, for those of us that aren't familiar of yourself, can you give us a little bit of an intro, 20,000 foot?
Perfect. Well, thanks for having me on the show, Chris. But giving you guys a little 20 foot, I would say former professional tennis player gone entrepreneur. So early on in my early days, played professional tennis, had a world ranking, was one of the top Canadian tennis players, and then kind of had to make that decision. Do I go the education route, get an MBA, or try and become professional? And obviously, as you can see, I did not go the tennis route. I chose to get my MBA, worked for a bit as a co-op program during my MBA, and founded my first business in 2014, which was called Exchange Leads, which if a lot of you are familiar with any data company, the old Jigsaw, which was acquired by was turned into Data.com by Salesforce. I came up with Exchange Leads and grew that for 2.5 years. And then parlayed that business into Autoklose in 2017. So what I did was we built a sales engagement platform similar to your outreaches, your sales lofts. We had the data company, put that all into one, built Autoklose, and actually we were acquired in October of 2020. So still working at Autoklose, but I am now the general manager.
Love it. Fantastic. And we are going to go deep into a problem that I know is at the heart of a lot of the listeners today. So most of us listening are investopreneurs bootstrapping our business. I know that what we're going to be discussing is how do you continue to scale as fast as your competition, who are venture backed oftentimes when you're bootstrapping. Shawn, can you take us a little bit into your thought process? So why is this important? I know it's in our face, but like to the heart level of really like growing and running a bootstrap business. Why is this so important in terms of top of mind? And then how did you come across solving this?
Yeah. So, first, originally I went right from the beginning. I wanted to bootstrap. And the reason why I wanted, freedom. I wanted freedom. I wanted to be able to travel, work in my business. It was one of those things where early on there was a struggles. I took my first year, I took zero salary. I was just paying a developer. Actually, go back a little bit. I was working as a VP of sales for a company, came up with the idea. And then when I built Autoklose, I actually for the first year took zero salary, was only paying my lead developer. And I left that company when I made my first $49 sale. I was making 6 figures as a VP of sales, made my $49 sale. And lucky enough for me, sometimes it comes down to luck, but my oldest brother was working at one of the biggest telecom companies here in Canada. And I got that whale client right away. I got that big client right away. It was a 6-figure PO. And let's just say when I got Exchange Leads and I got that 6-figure PO, that's what really scaled Exchange Leads in 2015, 2016. But then I said to myself, our clients were coming to us and saying, well, Shawn, you built a data company, but now I have to find another company to actually email that data. That's where we grew Autoklose. So early on, very lean. And we can go into that, Chris. But early on, we were very, very lean. I outsourced all of my development to Eastern Europe, specifically Serbia. Didn't hire anyone here. And as a founder, as a lot of you guys listening, I actually wore many hats. I had a pseudonym inside our intercom support called Jeffrey Finder, but 24/7, that was me doing support as well as sales. So I would just say, Chris, that early on, a lot of hats, but I love the initial bootstrapping to a certain point.
What's that? Now, did I hear the fact that you were in a role, right? So you had a full-time job.
Yep.
Happenstance is VP of sales. So as an investpreneur, we very much so advocate the fact that folks go out, get a job, have other folks pay you to get that experience, take all of that experience and a portion of that pay and go build your business. And I love this conversation because it seems like that's almost exactly what you did. And you have this background in sales. The first product was really solving the problem that you were having and experiencing yourself in that role of VP of sales. And then you solved it. You sold $49. You got the confirmation from the market that there's the demand there. And then you listened to the market and you said, well, this is a portion of the problem. And you went off and said, well, let me see if I could solve the entire thing. And you literally identified based off of market conversation and market feedback. Did you continue to do that? So if we get into the concept of scaling up as a bootstrap founder, what was that process like?
Yeah. So before we go to the scaling up, the first thing I would say is, early on, I found that piece, but I really early on found that software as a service, SaaS companies, what we were going to be today was a lot of consolidation. So what happened about 5-6 years ago is a lot of people are building one-off products. We do email marketing, we do marketing automation, we do a CRM, but I had that vision that everything at some point is going to be under one roof. And that's why we built the exchange leads and Autoklose and started building tools and different features all under one roof. But the scaling part was another story. So what I kept doing was I kept reinvesting into the business. So we built, before we launched Autoklose, I had a landing page. And that landing page was basically, imagine you buying a house and you're renovating a house. In each room, you're going to have carpet, windows, doors, and you're part of that entire process, picking what doors you want, what windows you want. Well, I did the same thing with my business. When I was developing Autoklose as a software, I had a list and I would have people 7 months before I had any product, every week at a newsletter with a video of where we are. We're on the first floor of that condo, second floor, third floor. So as we built it, it's almost like our audience felt like they were building it with us. So the emails we kept getting, and then what happened was we kept building that list 8 months to launch day. And when launch day happened, I think I closed over $60,000 in our first day. And that was two of us in a boardroom doing demos, just two of us literally doing demos every half an hour, is because we built all that momentum before the launch. So the one thing I would say, as a strategy is, don't say you have to wait for your product. Focus on that 8 months before and start building that community around your product. So when you actually have launched it, you already have influencers, people posting and so excited, like they felt like they actually built that platform with you. So that's how kind of we grew that first, I would say 3 to 6 months. And then we kept investing every cent into the business.
I love that strategy. Can we go a little bit deep? Okay. Shawn, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Can we go a little bit deeper into that? So this concept of, so you had product market fit, or a concept of a product market fit. Would love to talk a little bit in terms of the feedback loops that you had with customers and how this experience of building the subscriber base, 2 parts. One, how did you grow the subscriber base, as you were building? Yep. And then how are you leveraging this concept of sharing these video demos and getting the feedback from your customers to continue to build, improve, and then get the excitement around the launch?
So a few things we did, and these are some strategies we did, and it's not for everyone. There's a company called AppSumo, and early on we did AppSumo. We did not need the revenue. A lot of people go there because they want that little push. Capital, we were fine. We had enough money in the bank. But what we did was we had 3,000 users sign up. They all gave us feedback, opinions, and basically built a roadmap. They said, well, why don't you have this? Why don't you add this? And what happened was we took all their feedback and ended up building a roadmap from them. So originally we used AppSumo, but here's a strategy that I used to get to subscribers, Chris, and it is something I've told people in many of my talks. And it actually was a tip I got from David Cancel from Drift. Yes. So he was speaking at an event and I asked him this question: what should I charge for my software? I'm thinking of charging $49.99, but we don't have a brand, etc. And a lot of people are saying, like, give it away for free just to get some feedback. And David pulled me aside and we spoke after the event. And he goes, Shawn, charge your clients anything. Ask your clients what they're willing to pay. So what we actually did was, my first 50 clients of Autoklose, I would say, so Chris would sign up for a demo. I'd be like, Chris, here's a demo. And I'd go at the end and go, Chris, what's this worth to you? And you would say, I don't know, I'd pay $20 a month. It's yours. And then the next person would come and say, what would you pay? And the guy goes, I don't know. I have no money right now. I'm a solopreneur, $5 a month. It's yours. If you would say $1, I would, whatever the price that person, those first 50 clients said, I actually gave it to them for whatever they said. And that's how we got our first 50 clients. And then what happened was a lot of those clients are still with us today because early on, it was more to get them kind of, we have a staging survey, we have a live survey, but testing things on the live. I didn't care about the revenue at this point. I wanted them in the software, but I also wanted them to be invested in it. Even though they're only putting in $1, they're still invested. If they put nothing, it's a free tool, they'll never use it. But if they're paying $1 and their credit card is inside your software, they're invested and they're a user. So that was kind of how we started out, Chris. And then the second strategy I'm going to go on was, how do we find out what that price was? This was a great strategy. I always said, I can always go up in price, but it's tough to start high and go lower. So I started at $9.99. And every few months when I had no pushback, I'd go from $9.99 to $19.99 to $29.99. And I still didn't have any pushback. I went to $39.99. No one had pushback. And as we continued building more features, went up in price. And at the time, at $40.99, we had people saying, oh, well, I can go to this person for $99.99. So that's how we kind of built our pricing early on, when we didn't have as many features as, our $100 million VC-backed competitors.
Love that. Oh, love that. Shawn, there's so many nuggets that you're sprinkling into this conversation. I almost feel an obligation to ask that we hopefully have you back on the show at another time, because I think that there's so much knowledge and experience and wisdom that you have between practical experience that we should be able to share with other folks in this. Thank you for doing this today. So what I just heard is the fact that a couple of awesome strategies. So first off, AppSumo, huge fan. We support AppSumo 100,000%. You launched on AppSumo, you were able to get to which is an awesome number too. I always love to hear the numbers too in terms of traction. So you got 3,000 users off of that. Those users, so those are one-time payments. So it is like a revenue injection, right? But at the same time, what it really is a user base that you're now having a conversation or relationship with, to be able to use that newsletter strategy of dropping and taking folks through the tour of the house, one room at a time. Get feedback, get opinions. What is the roadmap going to be? Build into the roadmap. By doing that, you were able to identify where the pain is and deliver into that pain. And then you step back, and what you did was you committed to the grind. You committed to the process that a lot of folks try to skip over. And you were willing to have conversations and push to a demo, and off of that demo, bite the pride a little bit and ask the hard questions of, what is this worth to you? And listen. And because you listened, they got it. And because they got it, they were adoptive customers, which were sticky customers too, which were loyal customers.
And some of those were like, oh, I should have offered you a penny. I'm like, you could have offered me the first number they mentioned was what the price was. They could have said 5 cents. They could have said $50, $100, whatever they said. And I stuck by it. Whatever they said, their first price was what they got it for. Couldn't change it. Even if I said, it's yours.
Love that. And that solves so many problems. So like, we're talking about bootstrapping, right? And for those of us listening at home, I know there's a lot of us at home that are bootstrapping right now, and we're asking ourselves these questions. We are asking, how are we staying competitive against those that are venture backed as we continue to scale? We're asking, how do we go to market successfully? We're asking, how do we price our product correctly? We're asking, how do we get our first 15 clients? And all of these things just came out of this one conversation, right? So that first 50, it's like, you got to be willing to put in the work, have the conversations, ask the questions, and then get that early adoption. Commit to 50, right? Find your price. What you're doing is you're cherry picking your initial customers. So you're creating less friction in terms of the ask. You're being able to kind of build up that confidence, because we know as investpreneurs and entrepreneurs, sometimes it's scary, especially to go to market. So that's a great way as a confident builder to be able to position and ask. You get that early adopters, and then you also figure out where the price kind of should be. And in terms of pricing where it should be, don't be afraid to start low, right? Because you can go high and it's very difficult to go low. But if you start low, it's easy to progressively get higher.
Exactly.
So start low, understand where you can land, and then expand into that pricing. And as you're expanding into that pricing, get a feel for where the market pushback is, incrementally increase it. And if there's not a lot of friction, there's not a lot of pushback, or there's a lot of ask for features that you know you can deliver, then lean into that and continue to grow that pricing up and scale that pricing up. And now you're at scale in a competitive position with your VC-backed competitors. I love that. Shawn, this was absolutely fantastic information. Again, I think that there are so many nuggets into this. that there has to be more conversations that we have in the future, because there's so many folks that are listening that are seeing and experiencing what you've done successfully, so many, each and every day. One of the things that we like to do as we start to wrap up the conversations is, again, you gave a ton of value on today's conversation.
Yeah.
You get more, we genuinely believe you get more by giving than by taking. It's one of our core ethos. You gave a lot, you gave a ton. There's a lot of folks listening. There's got to be something that you need help with. If you were to wave your magic wand and ask for one thing that you could get help with, because maybe there's somebody listening at home that could actually help, or maybe we can as an organization and in a movement, what would that be?
Whew. So, one thing for our business, what we can, are you talking about our business?
Yeah, honestly, it could be your business. It could be you personally. It could be anything. Realistically, we just want to be in a position to be able to give back.
So the one thing, if anyone has experience in, the one thing I'm really trying to do, because after you bootstrap, you kind of realize, so we were acquired, but you still kind of realize that, you need, if you're going to grow, you still need a lot of people in different positions. And sometimes you need to grow with partners and affiliates. So one thing we're looking for, and I'm trying to learn a little bit more about for our team, is how to run an amazing affiliate and partner program. So that's one of the challenges we're currently having, is we want to have advocates that use our platform, love our platform, and sell on behalf of us. And we obviously give them a kickback. We signed up for a company called PartnerStack, which is another Canadian company who's doing really well. It's a partner program software. So if anyone has any experience, I'd love to hear your thoughts on affiliates and partners and how to really scale that side of the business, because at the end of the day, I think affiliates and partners can turn into about 20-30% of your revenue. So if you guys aren't doing a partner program or affiliate program, it's a great way to scale your business. So you don't have to hire people on salaries. You can have other people and advocates selling your product or service for you.
Love that. Yeah, we love that strategy. I mean, that could also be another good conversation too, that we have, like a good practical conversation. Off the top of my head, so we did a couple of episodes back have Jeff Epstein on the podcast. Jeff had founded Get Ambassador, or getambassador.com, which was an affiliate platform. So I would love to make that connection. I know that I could minimally do that. And then for anybody that's listening at home that you think that you can lean on in and help solve this problem, we'll also make sure that we have Shawn's contact information on the podcast to please be able to reach out and be able to provide that support and that help. Shawn, I appreciate you taking the time today. Hopefully we are able to have you back on the show again sometime soon.
Anytime.
And until then, I'll make the connection for sure when we jump off, and hopefully somebody else is able to reach out and be able to help as well.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Shawn, thank you.